Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and if this is your first time of seeing any of my videos, thank you very much for stopping by, and please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell so that whenever I drop videos, you'll be one of the first people who would see this. Today I want to talk about possible visa interview questions that you are likely to face when you go for your visa interview. First and foremost, if you have gotten to this stage where you are preparing to go for a visa interview, I just want to say congratulations to you, and I hope that you get the visa that you are applying for. But before you go there, like we all know, there is need for adequate preparation so that you would actually, you know, get what you want, because getting the visa is ultimately like it's the crown of all the efforts you have put in order to travel. Maybe for whatever reason, it could be for work, it could be for study, it could also be for tourism. So many countries, of course, will want to interview you. And the essence of the interview is actually to know why you are coming to their country, and which is really very, very okay, right? So I'm going to like share some possible visa interview questions and how you need to answer them. First and foremost, I need to mention that during the visa interview section, you need to know some certain things, and which are, first and foremost, please never ever lie to your visa officer. Never lie to your visa officer, because many of the times you wouldn't even know that they have access to everything that has to do with you. See, in as much as maybe you have signed something, you have posted something on the internet or something like that, these people have access to all this information. So that is why it is very, 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 very okay for you to actually say the truth at all times, right? Because like they say, if you are saying the truth, you do not really need to have a very good memory, because you really do not need it. People ask you and you say things the way it is, so you don't really need to cram anything or remember what you have said before, so that you don't contradict yourself. So always say the truth. And the second one is this: do not share too much information. Only answer the question you are asked. Don't share too much information, and also do not share too little. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you. Like, yeah, they always tell you, try to keep your answers straight to the point and brief, right? But again, not kind of mono response. Like, what's your name? My name is Dominic. Where do you live? Lagos, Nigeria. That's straight to the point, but it's super short. It doesn't really give, you have to make it a bit conversational. um I don't know how to put it. Like, you have to be mild yet firm, right? So you have to be formal but still not so direct. For example, what's your name? Oh, my name is Dominic Smith, for example. Oh, where do you live? Oh, I live at number 55, Victoria Island, off Lake Chad, Lagos, Nigeria. This is more, it is brief, it is straight to the point, but it is not a mono response. You understand? So, and depending on where you live, mono response can also be passed as an insult or somebody being arrogant or something like that. So just try to keep your answers very brief, but not super brief, and then straight to the point. Now, let's not waste time. So, one of the questions you would get is, depending on the country you're going to, depending on the embassy, if for most countries in Europe, be prepared, learn the map of Europe, for example, or even the map of any continent that you are applying your visa for, you want to go to. Know the continents you're going to. One of the things I know they do most times in countries that are located in Europe is that they give you a blank map of Europe and ask you to identify some countries. They can tell you to identify 5 countries, they can tell you to identify 10 countries, they can tell you to identify, whatever, but it's going to be a blank map of that continent, of the country you are interviewing for. So make sure you study the map of that continent that you're going to. That's number one. And number two, in that map that you are being given to identify, the country which you are applying for, make sure it is part of the countries you will be identifying. This is really very, very important because you cannot say you are coming to my house and you do not even know anything about my house, like you do not know anything about my country. It doesn't make sense. So keep this at the back of your mind. If you are interviewing, for example, let's say, for example, Poland, and you go to a Polish embassy and they give you a blank map of Europe that you should identify 5 European countries and their names. Poland should be one of those countries you should identify. And this applies to every other country you're going to. So take note of this, right? And then next question is this. Next question. Okay, let's use this one as number one. So next question is this. Why do you want to go to this country? Because there are other countries you could have gone to any other country. Why this country? So this is where you have to be very, very specific of what you want to do. You have to be very specific of why you are coming to that country. For example, you could say things like, "Oh, okay, let's use Poland for example. Oh, what they ask you why Poland? You're like, oh, okay, Poland has one of the best universities in the whole European country, and it has affordable this, it has affordable that, it's cheap, it has a lot of green stuffs. You try to read about the country, know about the country. Maybe much later, I'm going to share my own experience and what I wrote because I knew I wrote it down somewhere. Because trust me, during my visa interview questions, I read so much. I was always sleeping at this on this platform they call Quora. There are a lot of like visa officers. They were dropping tips. I was reading them back to back. I was memorizing everything. I was making my own research. So please, if you can do that. So why the country? You need to know about the country and why you choose that country out of every other country. So that's definitely that. Then for the purpose of the country, for the purpose you're going to, of course, you have to also mention that. Then the next question they usually ask is, what will you do in that country? Now, for whatever reason you're asking for whatever purpose you're asking, for whatever purpose it is that you're applying for the visa, just be specific. Oh, you're going for studies, you're going for tourism, or you're going for work. Be specific. Don't, even if you have the intention of, let's say, doing any other stuff, which of course many of them know, especially if you're going for studies, many of them know that a large number of them would want to work part-time or something like that to support themselves and stuff like that. It is very okay. But this is not your primary goal or aim of traveling. Your primary aim is actually to study. And it is very important you stick to that you are going to study because that is actually what you are going there for, right? You've demonstrated that working part-time is just like an extra thing. So it's not like your main purpose. So be very specific. Oh, you're going to study, and this is the course you want to study. This is the duration of the course. This. That's for study. And then if you're going for tourism, oh, you're going to this country for tourism. And the reason why you're going for this country for tourism because you have been hearing about this particular landmark. You want to go there, you want to experience it. It is one of your dream, and this is and that. Simple, straight to the point. And if it is work, oh, you are going to so region in this country to work with this organization as this because you have these skills and this is why they have chosen you. Very straight to the point. And if you prepare for all this, you would know. Now, the next question, possible question they can ask you is, who is sponsoring your trip? Be truthful. If it is you, your parents, your sibling, your relative, say the person who is sponsoring you and see the relationship of that person to you. Oh, I'll be sponsored by um, Mr. Mrs. So 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 so, and this person is my father, my mother, my brother, my sister, my concubine, my this, straight up. So they need to know your relationship with the person who is sponsoring you. So another possible question they can ask you is that, what ties do you have to your home country? Now, your home country most times often relates to the country where you're applying from. It could also relate to your original country of residence. Let's say, for example, maybe you're a Ghanaian and you're living, like, let's say um, you've lived like, let's say, 20 years, like in another country, right? If you have landed properties, if you have like properties, if you have like tangible assets over there, this could also be mean a tie to that country of yours. And if you also have like maybe landed property, a wife, children, family back home, aged parents, and stuff like that, those are like also a very strong tie back to your country. Businesses, right? So, irrespective of where you have ties, whether it is your country of residence or your country of origin, it's actually like a very good time. Because I went to the UK, for example, like this kind of question too was actually popped in, and I have a tie here because I have like an indefinite contract to work here with my employer, and and some other stuff. So it's like a tie, because I'm definitely going to come back to here. Like when I go to the place I want to go to, I'm definitely coming back here. So this is a tie. So this is really very important. You need to actually state this too. And then the next possible question is that they will ask you if you have traveled before. So if you have traveled outside of your country of origin, please state it, irrespective of when or how long. Just state it, because the truth is that most often than not, they have access to this information. Trust me, there are some of these countries, they can go to your social media and they can dig out things that you probably tweeted when social media, you just joined social media. So that is why sometimes it's also good to catch crews, but be careful. Be careful. So if they ask you, so you need to mention that if you've traveled before, answer truthfully, tell them when, and the duration and the date. This is really very important. You can, of course, check your passports. If you've traveled often, usually there are stamps with dates. Just open your passport, you would always see the date stamp. Please always tell them. So they can ask you, what is your current job or occupation? So if you are going for tourism most often, they would always ask you this. Or maybe you're going for a work visa, they would always ask you, what are you currently doing? Most likely, if you're going for tourism, they are going to ask you this because they want to know what you do. Maybe you have high tendency of like flight risk. If you're not a flight risk, it's like you're not going to, like, there are some jobs you cannot abandon, right? You will always come back, because it's better to have that job than to become like an illegal somewhere or something like that. So they just want to know the kind of job you do. So be very honest about it. Provide information about the organization where you work, the location, your designation as in the organization, the skills that you possess, and why and how you are indispensable to the organization. So just be specific. So why choose this university is also another question. For example, most time for people who are going for studies, because there are a lot of universities in that country. So why do you choose to go to the university that you are going to? And now this is where your research about the school that you're going to should have come up. You should have read about your school, read about the address, read about the courses, read about, know your HOD, know your professors, know the head of the department, and the rest of it. So make your research about this and tell them why you choose to go to that university. Because number one, it could be like it's an award-winning research university, and this is your field of study, and you have social professor, you have read the social papers, and it's aligned with you, the kind of field that you want to go to, your research interest. There are like an award-winning professor in that school, in that department, and that is why you chose that school, and that is why you want this professor to be your mentor and stuff like that. So this will really go a long way. How will you support yourself financially when you travel to that country? It's similar to the other one, but not the same, right? It means your proof of fund, of course. You could tell them that how do you intend to, oh, your parents are sponsoring you, you have a bank statement that states so amount of money, and according to your research, you have actually seen, because every country would always tell you the minimum amount you should have. So you're like, oh, let's say the minimum amount you should have is like, let's say $10,000, for example, and you already have a bank statement that says you have like over 20 million, let's say $20,000 or $30,000. This can cover this. This is how you intend to spend your money. Just give them a breakdown. And then another possible question is that, do you have any relative in that country that you're going to? Do not lie. Do not lie. This is really very tricky. Like, this is really, really very tricky. Now, you could like, oh, you don't want to declare that. And if they find out, it's going to be like very bad for you, right? So you have to answer that truthfully. However, the people you should say yes to, that you know people there, should be your direct sibling or your parents or your child or an uncle. Don't say because you know a friend, we went to the same school, we went to the same day, and then you say, yes, you know these people. You don't know them. They are, let's be honest, you just know them facially. You don't really like know them. These people are not like, they're not relatives to you. They are not. In fact, most countries, like for example, like let's say countries that if you are going to go there, like maybe as a permanent resident or you're applying to go there or something like that, that it gives you points. Go verify these things. It's usually like father, mother, sibling, wife, spouse, which spouse, children. You see, sibling, parents, spouse, children. This is like what you should, if you have any of this, yes, you have relative there, so yes, that's okay. But when you have like your father's brother, sisters, uncle's child, sister, it's really not you don't know them. So don't make that mistake. You don't know them. Like, it's not like you don't know them, but you don't know them. These people are not like your ties. Like, you can't really vouch for this. You can't really say much about this. You know them facially. Most times, that is why me personally, I don't like throwing the words friends around. Most people, they are more of acquaintances to you. They are not really like friends. So people throw the word friend. Friends is more deeper than acquaintance. And acquaintance means I've seen you, I know you. I can't pass you on the road and deny that I don't know you facially. I know you, but do I know you on a deeper level? So this is not ties. So don't go and quote somebody that maybe wherever they are, they have like some not so good record, because it's really going to have a damaging effect on you. So if the for you to answer yes, from my own personal point of view, I feel they have to be your parents, your spouse, your child or children, siblings. These are your ties. These are like, yes. So if you have relatives and yeah, then by extension, I think maybe first cousins. So this can first cousins. I can also like uncle and first cousins. Like your dad's siblings, your mom's siblings, and your uncles, aunties' children. So these ones are like the category of people you could say you know. So other than that, you have friends, especially when you have a friend, they are not a tie. So be wary of that. Your cousins, yeah, your cousins are okay for you to declare, but not friends. Not friends. Underline it, not friends. And your relatives should not be like of long, long generations. Like there are some people that are my relatives, like I really don't know. I don't really know that they existed, maybe like some just recently or stuff like that. I can't want to claim that I know them because just don't know them. So just let's have that. So what are your plans for your stay? So what are your plans for your stay? So your plans for your stay in the country you're going to, so you have to mention if you're going for studies, where you be living, even if for even tourism, work, mention where you be living, what you tend to do, what you need to do after the completion of your studies. Most often than not, you want to come back to your country of residence, come back to, or to your home country. And then if you are going for a study, you're coming back to step down everything that you've learned into your work or your new career and the rest of it. Then another possible question is, have you been denied visa in the past? Now, this question, it's not about that particular country. Any country at all that you have been denied visa, please be honest about it. For the fact that they've denied you visa before in another country does not mean that they will deny you here. They just want to, know maybe how honest you are and stuff like that. So if everything that you're saying is checking with all the information that they have, still trust me, before you step in there, the moment you fill in the application, you submit it, they've done a background check on you already. So don't even think about it twice. So whatever thing you're coming to say is more like to collaborate what you are saying and what the information they have, if it's correct. So if they are together, then you are really very good to go. You have more chances of getting it. But if they are not aligning what you are saying and the information they have already, this is why many people actually have rejection. So be honest, mention why you were denied, the country, the dates, and the reason why. And if, for example, you did not appeal, the reason why you did not appeal, maybe the country do not accept appealing, like once they refuse you, you do not have the right to appeal. Or if you have the right to appeal, but you didn't appeal, you could tell them that maybe because maybe you didn't know, or you have some engagement coming up and then you couldn't factor out time for it or something, and that. Just be honest about it. Express yourself about that. What are your future plans? Tell them your future plans. Tell them, what you intend to do, your future plans. Tell them what you intend to do after the study, or if you're going for a work visa, what you intend to do in the future, what are your plans, like your goals in life. And then if tourism, I barely doubt if they're going to ask you that about if you're going for a tourism visa, but still, you can still share your life goals with them. Another possible question is, if you're going for studies, not just studies, where would you be living? Where would you stay? Mention maybe the dormitory, the hotel, the accommodation, the the address and the location. It's really very important. And then they could ask you as insignificant thing as the name of your parents, the name of your spouse. You know, they can even bring out some calculations, like they can even ask you 4 plus 3, 4 minus 8, what is a noun? It all depends on their discretion. But the most important thing is, like, if you study about the country you are going to, about the school you are going to, about your course, I think you're really good to go. If you know this very well, you're really good to go. Sometimes another possible question is that they ask you to name all the courses that you'll be taking in a particular semester. So if most times schools, even if you check the website, schools will always tell you the name of the courses. So know at the barest minimum, know the courses you will be attending first in that semester that you're going to know this. They have this information, so know this. So this is as much as I can remember because I try to write them down based on my own personal experience. And I think maybe later, maybe in the future, I'm still going to share my experience of my visa interview and how it went. Fortunately or unfortunately, I was asked a lot of questions, unlike some people who went there and they didn't ask them any questions. So, but again, I was really glad that they asked me questions. In fact, I prepared for a way tougher questions, but they really asked me like things I consider insignificant questions, like I really don't have to practice for. But no knowledge is a waste, and I think it's kind of like made me study more about the country I was coming to, know more about, trust me, I know more of map of Europe than I know for map of Africa. it is yeah, it is really true. So I think it is when I really came here that I really studied map of Africa, because come on, how can I be an African and not really know the map of Africa? But I think, in all honesty, I knew more countries and where they are located in the map of Europe before I even learned of Africa. So learn all these things is really very important. Yes. So if you find this video very helpful, please do not forget to subscribe, like my channel, like my videos, and share with other people who might be going for a visa interview. I never know, you might be saving a life. So I'm going to come back maybe in one of my videos. I'm actually going to tell you some mistakes you should never make when you are having a visa interview. Three. I'm going to tell you three mistakes you should never make when you are having a visa interview. So until then, peace, and I wish you all the best in your interview. Bye.